How are we on time? I don't even know how to tell on this. Okay, last matchup. Um, the real champ first is swims backward is Smuse. Um, Again, another big matchup for John and myself. I need to retain the number one overall seed to get that $50. I have secured, along with Layman, the bye, so that's good either way. But I would like to get that regular season victory and that $50. Um, and John, of course, although it doesn't look likely, still has a chance to make the playoffs. Again, we'll break that down in the next segment here. Um, but he's still fighting and he's still making moves, still trying to win ball games here. So we'll start with John's team. Good team. Projections are pretty close. He's projected 117. I projected 127. Um, Trevor Lawrence wild card. I think just the Jags are a wild card team. But they're playing Cincinnati. If Joe Burrow is playing for Cincinnati, I think this game would be a shootout, and I think it's going to be a really good game. But with a guy like Browning playing at quarterback, I think they're just going to run the ball a lot. I don't see Trevor Lawrence doing too much, but again, I think in the first half, I think they keep the playbook pretty open still, no matter who they're playing. So um, I think it's really going to matter, how many points he scores in the first half, because in the second half they're going to be up by 2 touchdowns, and they're just going to run the ball. So. Very strong at running back with Kamara and Javante there. Good combo. Kamara playing Detroit. They've got a pretty good D, but I'm pretty sure almost every single receiver on the Saints is hurt. So Kamara will probably be targeted like 20 times and catch the ball 18 times. So he's going to be a PPR machine regardless of if he ends up in the end zone. I think he'll do fine. Solid wide receivers, Mike Evans, Waddle, very good. He had to. Who is his normal tight end? Does he have a normal tight end, or did he trade? So he has Jawan Johnson of New Orleans, which I think is a great play this week, again, because of the injuries. I've actually picked Jawan Johnson up in my other 2 leagues because I had the dude from the Ravens, who I can't think of his name right now, Mark Andrews. So I'm hoping he has a good game as well, which that's what also sucks about fantasy, is that I have to root against him, but also root for him so my other teams can do well. So that's always tough. Big wild card is the flex, is Devon Achane. We all saw what he did last time. Came in for one player, one series, and then right back out. Again, I don't foresee that happening again, but I don't think Miami's planning on it, but who knows? We didn't plan on it happening last week either. And then he has Miami kicker, so he's very Miami heavy against Washington. Again, I think that's great. Miami, I don't think they care if they're up by 2 touchdowns. They're still going to pass the ball 70 times a game. So Tyreek's going to get most of that, but Waddle always gets those runoff points. So got my work cut out for me this week. My team, I don't want to spend too much time on it. You guys already know. Only lost 1 game, so pretty strong team. Half kidding. But made a big trade. I don't know if I needed to. I just got a little restless. I like making trades. Like to mix it up always. Really just wanted Thielen back on my squad. One of my biggest regrets this year was dropping him after week 1. But I like his matchup this week. So I kind of was looking short term. I have a Saquon and now James Cook on bye, so I don't know if I'm normally going to play Adam Thielen, but I love the matchup against Tampa Bay this week, so the trade was really kind of a short-term look for me, just hoping to solidify that first seed. So hopefully he does really well. Again, I'm playing Jalen Warren with Saquon being out, but he's playing Arizona, who's got a terrible defense against the running back. I'm super nervous about playing Raheem Mostert. I think if it wasn't for everyone else in the fantasy world saying Raheem Mostert's going to do amazing this week, I don't think I personally would have started him. I don't think he's going to. I never think he's going to do well, and then he'll randomly just get 2 touchdowns at the end of games. So I'm not sure, but again, I'm not going to be surprised if that dude scores 6 points. So, um, Travis Kelsey, I don't know if Taylor Swift just hasn't been showing up to games, but he's kind of been sucking the last 2 weeks for him. I mean, 15 points the last 2 weeks. Again, like I said, the amount of money I spent on Travis Kelsey, I need him scoring at least 20 points every week to help my team. The last 4 weeks, he scored 11, 4, 15, 15. Before that, it was 35, 21, 22. So I need him more in those 20s, even though 15, for a tight end is good. I paid money for him to score 20 points every week. So uh, Tank Dell, he's injured a little bit. I think he's still going to play, but again, it's one of those things where if he tweaks his injury on the first play of the first drive, he could be out the rest of the game. Um, and then, like I mentioned before, the Browns defense, they're just losing guys left and right. My only pivot is the Eagles against San Francisco, so I think I'm just going to keep the Browns in there. And then A.J. Brown's just due. He's due for some big games, so hopefully they're looking his way this week. I, of course, am going to choose myself to win over John, although, again, wouldn't be surprised. I thought Brad was going to take me down last week, but I snuck away with a win. It's just it's a numbers game. I'm due for a loss, so again, I'm not surprised if it's going to be to John this week. I think he'll be really happy if he wins. Um, but yeah, I really want that 1 seed, so I'm going to choose me to win there. All right, this last section, kind of just do quick. I was kind of looking at the standings and just looking at like what happens if this person wins, what happens if this person loses. As I mentioned at the top of the pod, the only thing that can really get cemented this week is Randy getting eliminated. And again, I believe John, Brad, and Brandon would all have to lose. Randy would have to win for that not to happen. So if Randy loses, he's out. If John, Brad, or Brandon, if any of those people win, he's out. So, hate to say it, Dose, I love you, but I think this is your last week of contention for the playoffs. And then at the top, me and Layman, like I mentioned many times, we both have the buys, but we're still just fighting for that number one overall finish for the $50. Layman's got me by points by like 100, so if we tie, Layman wins. So I just pretty much can't lose. So I need to finish out the season on a 13 game win streak to get the $50. And I mean, just that sentence alone is crazy. Like I need to go on a 13 game win streak just to get first place in this league. Layman's had a very formidable team this year, keeping me on my toes. Has it secretly been run by Chris? I think so, but that's just do with that what you will. Very strong evidence for it, but that's all I'm going to say. But what we really want to look at is kind of the in between. So we got those 6 teams in between. It's going to be fairly tough for Dillman and Baxter, I think, to get eliminated. So really what I'm looking at are those last 4 teams. So that's Mitch, Brad, Brandon, and John. John, I honestly think the only way he even has a chance is obviously he's got to win this week against me. And then Brandon and Brad would have to lose. So Brad's playing back, so that's a close game, and then Brandon is playing Mitch, and we just went over all those matchups. So it is very possible. I could definitely see a world where John wins and Brad and Brandon lose. If that's the case, then they are all tied at 5 and 8. All their points are within 20 points. Brad's got the biggest discrepancy is Brad over Brandon. Brad has 50 more points than Brandon, but those 3 are very much in the mix. Obviously, if Brandon beats Mitch, that's going to be very intriguing. They'll end up being tied. And again, within 50 points of each other for the score. If you mix in a Brad loss with a Brandon over Mitch, also gets very interesting. Um, so that was kind of the main reason I didn't want to have anyone on tonight. I really just didn't know who to have on. I think it's going to be a lot more interesting next week. Next week we'll kind of know who needs to win to get in, who needs to lose um, to get eliminated. I kind of looked ahead a little bit. I don't think any of those players play each other, so I don't think like Brad, Brandon, John, Mitch play each other at all. So unfortunately, I don't think it's going to come down to like one matchup, like winner of this matchup gets or loser of this matchup gets eliminated. Unfortunately, but we'll see when that time comes. But a very big week for everyone. Yeah, so I'm excited. I think that's all I've got. I honestly don't know how long. I felt like I've been talking for a long time, so I'm going to end it there. Hope I broke down your teams well. Um, yeah, hope you guys have fun. Hope you guys are happy with the results of this week, and go Pack.